it's Midnight Raven, and this is a catch-up vlog. I have had a busy couple of weeks, and I want to keep you in the loop of how the Midnight Raven's life, YouTube, and world is going. So, where do we start? Let's start with the weekend I've just had. So, on Friday I attended a funeral. I did put a tweet out saying that videos would be slightly delayed this week due to a funeral I attended. It was a beautiful ceremony for a little boy who we sadly lost too soon. It was a beautiful service, and we had a lovely little wake, played some pool. It was a really good party atmosphere, as bad as that sounds at a funeral. They wanted it to be happy and jolly, and that's exactly what they got. I donned a lovely grey inspired dress over some black trousers and a grey cardigan, and my shoes killed my feet because I couldn't wear trainers. It's not very good to wear trainers at funerals. I had to wear actual shoes, and my back did kill afterwards. What else? On Saturday we thought, let's go to my partner's sister's and do some gardening. Worst decision ever. Although we did get some painting done and some gardening, and we got everything ready and prepped, and we did some bamboo, and we did a picket fence, and we did a whole load of stuff. The only problem we had is it rained every 15 minutes. It was 15 minutes of rain and then a bit of sun, and then rain and sun and rain and sun, and it was like that for about 6 hours. So we went down there at 12, and by the time we finished at around 6 o'clock, the rain had literally destroyed some of the paintwork, and it was just dripping off, and it just wasn't happening. So we're going to go back some other time and help them out. They're trying to make a little garden and smarten up their garden for their little girl Jessica, who's my partner's niece. And they obviously have Daisy the dog, who is a terror. I did spend most of the day chasing around after Daisy, being like a dog sitter, although I did help out on things I can, because obviously with my back, repetition with painting and everything, it just wouldn't have done very well. And then on the Sunday, we just had a nice quiet Sunday. Just chilled at home. Marcus was at work, the boys were at the grandparents, and I just hung out and had a quiet evening. Sunday night, Talon came home from his grandparents. He didn't want to go out on the Monday, so he decided to come back. He also got silver in his go-karting, which he did really well. He did get a silver this week, which means I believe he is second in both his leagues. He does 2 leagues of go-karting, League A and League B. One is slightly more harder than the other, but he's got so many medals. He got 2 trophies, and last season he came 3rd overall, and this year he's competing in not 1 but 2 leagues, so he's doing really well. He's like second in both at the minute, and if he could get first in 1, that would be awesome. And then Sunday night we had a Netflix night with popcorn. We chilled out and watched a couple of movies and just hung out, all 3 of us. Talon and Marcus stayed in the front room overnight and had like a sleepover. I can't sleep on the floor, unfortunately. I had to sleep in the bed, so I was a party pooper there. I went to bed. And then on Monday it was bank holiday, so Marcus had no work. Doesn't work Mondays, to be fair. So we hung out on Monday. He did loads of his Warhammer. Let me show you his Warhammer. My partner loves doing Warhammer. I'm hoping you can see in here. Let me turn it around so you can see. But he does models, and he made all these models. I don't think you're going to see. It is so dark in here. Let me just move some stuff. But he does model making. Don't think it's going to show. But if you can see that, then you're pretty lucky. But there are loads of models in there, and he made tons of them. Let me get one out and I'll show you. So he makes stuff like this. This is a Warhammer tank. It's like a orc tank or something. And then you've got scenery and stuff, and he paints them all and has a whale of a time doing it. If you want to know more, he's got ones up here where he's painted them all, and then he's got more impressive ones that look like this, and all these little men, and he spends a lot of time doing them, a lot of time. He has to make them and then paint them, and it's time consuming. I also got myself some tulips this weekend. Let's show you them. These are the tulips I bought from my local shop. They were £1 for a white set and £1 for a red set, and they aren't looking too bad. I've had them 2 or 3 days. I think they need watering. The fish, you love to know how the fish are. People are always saying, how are your fish? Well, my fish are looking good. Their tank is spotless because I spent all of Sunday cleaning them. The filter has been replaced now. We managed to find a place that stocked their filters, as I tried in my hometown and didn't get anywhere. They do need some new plants. They are getting a little weary. Their stones are getting a little tarnished as well. I think I need to get just a whole new set. But there's my little fishies. So there's Chips and Fish. They're my son's fish. That's why they're Fish and Chips. There's Jack over there. The big boy is Jack. And then little Zero. Oh, my little Zero is just swimming around. So, Midnight, on the other hand, is nowhere to be seen. He's been hiding ever since we had the rain. I'm sorry about the lighting here. Let me turn the lighting on. The lighting is playing up no end. So, my channel. Let's do channel. My channel, today I've been filming. Let me show you what I've been filming. I've been filming a haul, which should have already gone up by the time you see this vlog. Glossy box. Ooh, can't show you too much. Don't want to spoil it, because then people won't watch my channel. What else have I been doing? I've been doing loads, mostly housework. See, piles of washing everywhere. I haven't been out and vlogged much because the weather is horrendous. It's been raining non-stop for like 4 days now. It's like, but because it rained, we have had loads of Netflix time. So let me share with you. I did this last time I think I did a vlog. I shared with you what I recently watched on Netflix. So let me show you, tell you, should I say, not show you, tell you what I've recently watched. So, I am an avid Netflix fan. If you don't have Netflix, you can have Netflix in 1 room, 2 rooms, or 4 rooms, I think it is. It ranges from about 7 to a tenner. I mean, that's bargain prices. So, this month of April, I watched RuPaul's Drag Race. Oh my god, I love, love, love it. My partner thinks I'm crazy watching men walk around in dresses, but that's just him. Then I watched RuPaul's Untucked, because if you haven't watched Untucked, you don't know the full story. And the Untucked part is hilarious. It shows you all the fights and the arguments they have behind the scenes, and some of them are quite nasty. I also watched Jimmy Carr's Greatest Golden Hits or something it's called, his new show, and it is hilarious. Both me and my partner have now watched it, and it is so funny. I watched it on my own, and he heard some of the jokes, and he was like, "Is that Jimmy Carr?" And I'm like, "Yeah, he's got a new show out." And then he went and watched it, and it was so funny. Upstart Crow, if you haven't seen that, it's from the BBC. They have already done 1 series, but this is the 2nd one. And it has the guy from the Peep Show in it. I can't think of what his name is, but it's got Peep Show guy in it. And it's basically taking the mick out of Shakespeare. Now, I didn't think I'd like it to start with, because Shakespeare never really excited me at school. I was never into reading, to be fair. But it's so funny. If you want to laugh with the world's corniest jokes, Upstart Crow season 1 and 2 it's just so funny. it's so ridiculously bad, it's good. Then we did the You Wild, which is the Bear Grylls interactive one on Netflix, where you can choose what happens to him. So if he comes up against a crocodile or he comes up against a bear, which direction does he go? You can tell him to climb up a mountain or slide down a hill with an avalanche. It's really cool. And if you die, you just get to restart the entire thing again, or you can just go back and take the other option. And different scenarios happen, and you can kill him, and it's kind of cool. My son kind of likes to see if he can kill him rather than make him live, which is kind of creepy. Then I watched the Our Planet, which is the, I think it's, I can't remember, I think it's a David Attenborough. I think his name's David Attenborough, where he monologues the animals, and that Our Planet was so upsetting. That series made me weep. And you're like, how does a series about animals make you weep? Well, it was just watching these little penguins not be eaten by polar bears, and watching these seals fall off cliffs, and oh, it was heartbreaking to watch the animals die. But I get that it's, you know, how the world is. It's a man-eat or fishy, you know, world. So that was kind of hard to watch. Then I watched The Breakup, which is a movie, and it has, I believe he's called Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston in it. And it was alright. It was a bit, I don't know, I kind of liked the trailer to it, and then when I watched it, it was kind of a bit slow, a bit ploddy, a bit predictable, and then in the end they just stayed broken up. They didn't get back together, so that was kind of right. Then we watched Big Bang's latest series, not the last series, the one before, because we're behind. Bernadette's just had a second baby, and we watched Amy and Sheldon get married, so that was kind of cool. Then I watched a thing called Episodes, which has Joey from Friends in it, and two people from the Green Wing, if you've ever seen that TV program where they were in a hospital. It's got both of them in it, or if you've seen Black Books, the girl from Black Books is in this. And it was about two British soap writers that go to America, and they end up with Joey, and they cast him in a role, and it's kind of funny, and then he sleeps with the man's wife, and it's all right. It was a bit draggy, and they did like 4 or 5 seasons. Amazingly, I'm surprised it got that far, to be fair. Then I watched the Santa Clarita Diet, which is in its 2nd season. Now, I didn't know if they'd bring it back for a 2nd season because the first one seemed so ridiculous. Basically, there was some rotten, contaminated food. Drew Barrymore ate it, and then she turned into like the undead, and now they have to keep people to eat, and other people are trying to kill her. And then in this season, they wanted to take her weird blood that she has in it and put it into a cosmetics, and there was this royal order trying to kill her. It was all a bit confusing. Then I watched The Children of God, which was about a religious cult, or a religious sect in America, which brainwashed a lot of people. There was a lot of, I want to say, rape and incest, and it was a really weird program. And it was about the Children of God, which was a religious cult that wanted people to join, but it had a really weird undertone to the cult where people would share each other, and they would be encouraged to have sex with children, and it was really weird. I probably shouldn't have seen it, but it intrigued me. You know how something intrigues you and you're just like, Then I watched Dirty John, which isn't as bad as it sounds. Basically, it was a guy that managed to con a load of women. He'd get with them, he'd stay with them, he'd marry them, he'd take all their money, but in the end, one of the daughters of his current wife killed him because he wanted to take their money, and he'd been doing it for years and no one had caught him. And I watched both the police series of it, and I also watched the Netflix series that they've also done on the actual police investigation. So I watched both. I watched the police investigation first to get the full story, and then I watched the Netflix version of the story, which they did in episodes as a mini series, and it was pretty good. It was pretty contrastable to both of them. There wasn't a real lot of difference between the two. It was all kind of followed each other. Then I watched a film called Snowpiercer, which is meant to be like an adult misconstrued Willy Wonka. It's about a train where they tried to populate, they put a thing into the atmosphere to try and stop global warming, and it went wrong, and it froze the entire world, and the only people that survived were on this train, which was Wilfred Industries. And they had this whole train that had a spa and a hairdressers and a bar, but some people were rich and they lived at the front of the train, and the poor people lived at the back of the train. Now unfortunately there's a great divide between the poor and the rich, and one guy, who is the guy, and I can't remember his name, Chris Evans, sets up a revolution and takes over the train, crashes the train, and then only to find out that the world actually was inhabitable, because when the train crashed and two people survived, a girl and a young boy, they found that there was a polar bear on the side alive, and that the world was actually now inhabitable, which they'd been told it wasn't, which is why the train was made for everyone to survive. So that was kind of a good film. If you like something that's kind of weird and different, watch the Snowpiercer. Then I watched a film called The Silence, which was also a pretty cool film. It was about where you couldn't make noise because they were digging somewhere or investigating some hole, and they ended up breaking this cavern open, and all these weird mutated bats flew out, and then they started killing people, and the only thing these bats picked up was noise. You had to live in silence, so no talking, no nothing. And the family that the film concentrated on had a deaf daughter, so they were used to living in silence per se, because they were always used to use sign language and, you know, eating, drinking and everything. So they were sign languaging, so they already knew who to live in sign language world. Then last of all this month I watched the Men Behaving Badly series. There's like 5 on there. I watched it many years ago, back in the 90s, 2000s, whenever it came out, with Neil Morrissey and I can't remember the other guy, but it was really funny, and I haven't finished it yet. But that's everything I've watched in April on Netflix. So if you like me doing that, or you'd rather it was in a separate video, you can comment down below. I only put it in this to kind of thicken out the vlog, because my life isn't as exciting as it sounds. It really isn't, to be fair. But my channel is steadily growing. We've had a little bit of an increase recently, people. I've done a live stream or 2 occasionally recently as well. It's hard doing the live streams, like I said, because my back constantly aches now. With the fluctuation in the weather, I'm always battling the elements. But we do have loads of stuff coming this month. This month you may have noticed that there are 2 songs going up every day in May. That is why I've called it Sing for May. It's so I can get some other content done, and it gives me a bit of leeway as well. So May there are 2 songs going up every day, some from some people I've duetted with before, some that I haven't, so there are some new duets coming out, and there's some also solos, and you might even get a group if you're lucky. Also, I've got some more of the Shit Happens. People wanted more of that. I've also got hauls and unboxings and more vlogs. And if the sun cooperates with me, You never know. I might be able to vlog a bit more outside, maybe take to a museum, a garden, a park, maybe the duck pond, I don't know. I'm playing into the hands of the weather gods, and at the minute they don't want me going out because the cold gets into my back and it makes my life very, very difficult. But my fish are getting hungry, so it must be feeding fish time in my vlog. What do you think? We always feed the fish in the vlog, and I think it's possibly that time. So let me sit you there for a sec while I just open the tub, and then we are going to have a fish frenzy. Are you ready? Let's see. Ready? In 3, 2, 1. It's fish frenzy time. Here we go, look. Now, you have no idea how therapeutic it is to just sit here and watch the fish. I get such a kick out of just sitting there and watch them feeding. And they're so quiet. That's what I love about fish. They're so quiet and serene, and they don't cause any trouble. They just sit there and float around all day, which is the kind of pet I like. Although I wouldn't trade Midnight for anything, per se. But yeah. So, there's the fish feeding. We always feed the fish during the vlog. I don't know what it is, but they always need feeding. They're hungry, hungry fish. So, I don't know what else to show you today. Like I said, I've got Glossy Box on the way. So if you love Glossy Box, give me a big thumbs up. Anything up and coming. Ooh, big news as well. My partner passed his driving test. So we're going to have a car soon, and you know what that means? We can go all over to vlog, which would be even better, although he's not really wanting to be in the videos, which is fine, I get that. But I'll be able to vlog more, I'll be able to go out more, I'll have a bit more freedom. Hopefully he's going to get promotion at work as well. They're kind of looking at promoting him if he has a car, hopefully, because he's lost some hours recently. And I've lost some benefit recently, so everything's a little bit tighter, which is why I've only got one box at the minute this month. I hope to get another box. I want to get a Feel Unique pick and mix, and I would love to get a Latest in Beauty box if I can before the end of May, so keep your fingers crossed that I can get both of them because I'd like them. And that's about it. So if you haven't already and you love my channel, whack a big like on it, subscribe if you so wish. I load videos every day, so if you want to see awesome content and me singing my heart out to you guys, you can see that every day on my channel. So if you haven't already, I'd love you to check out all my other content. I will link my vlogs that I've done before. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you very soon for another vlog. Take care, thanks for watching. Bye.